Hey, how you going? Today we're going to have a look at Redgum's hit, I Was Only 19. We'll have a deep dive into the fingerpicking pattern for this song at the end of the tune, but first up, let's jump into the chords. The introduction just uses 4 chords. Now the first chord is technically an A suspended second, but for this video I'm just going to refer to it as an A chord. If you haven't played one before, it's literally taking your middle finger, placing it on the 2nd fret of the D string, your 3rd finger on the 2nd fret of the G string. We let the open A, the open B and the open high E string ring out whilst muting the low E string. It sounds a little bit like this. The next chord we're going to need is a bog standard open C major chord, an open G chord, and then an open D chord. So the chord progression is 4 bars long, and primarily you've got 2 chords to a bar. So bar 1 is 2 beats of A, followed by 2 beats of C. We've then got 2 beats of G, followed by 2 beats of D. Bar 3 is 2 beats of A followed by 2 beats of G. And then bar 4 is just a full bar of our A chord. So if I strum through it, it's going to sound a little bit like this. So the strumming pattern is sort of condensed into 2 beats, and it's a down, 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 up. Sounds a little bit like this. So if I slowed it right down, it'd be down, 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 up. And like I said, we're squeezing that into 2 beats. In other words, we have to play it twice per bar, or for most of the song, you're playing it once per chord change. So down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down. So it's not too bad, just practice it slow and then gradually work it up to speed. Next up is the verse, which luckily for us is exactly the same as our introduction. The only difference being is that we play through the chord progression twice. We're going to need 2 new chords for our chorus, and those chords are an E major chord and an F sharp minor bar chord. Just remember, if you haven't played too many bar chords, you want to make sure that you bar your index finger across all 6 strings as close to the fret as you can, even possibly on top of it. And I tend to use that side part of my finger there, just because I try to avoid the creases in my finger. Get that clean. And then we're putting our middle finger on, in this case, the 4th fret of the A string and our pinky on the 4th fret of the D string, and just play all 6 strings. So the progression is a bar of E, followed by 2 beats of D, 2 beats of A. We then repeat that, so a bar of E, 2 beats of D, 2 beats of A. We're then going to go to 2 beats of F sharp minor, 2 beats of E, 2 beats of D again, another 2 beats of our A chord, and then we go to 2 bars of E major. Now, that's how John Schumann plays it when he plays it live. On the recording, sometimes you'll hear on that last bar a little thing like this. It'll go E, where they're just quickly skipping up to that F sharp minor chord. You don't have to do that, but if you want to, you can do that in the last bar. And that's just leading into the final 2 bars of the chorus, which is literally 2 bars of our D chord. Now once again, sometimes for that 2 bars of D, they'll actually just play a great big diamond, so they'll just do 1 strum and hold it. Sometimes they'll play through it. So if you're playing the song at home by yourself and singing that sort of stuff, I'll leave it to your discretion. But all up, it'll sound like this. going to play that verse-chorus pattern 3 times. In other words, we repeat it 3 times, verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus. We then go to a solo, or it's like an instrumental section. Now that instrumental section, luckily for us, is just played over our verse section. Once we get through that, we then play another verse, and then we do a double chorus. Now the only thing you want to note with our double chorus is the first time you play through the chorus, instead of having that 2 bars of D at the end, we're only going to have 1 bar of D. Then we go back and repeat our chorus and just do the standard 2 bars of D. To finish the song off, all we have to do is play through our verse once and then finish on an A chord, and we're done. Now before we jump into that iconic fingerpicking pattern, can you do me a massive favor and just look down below and you'll see that subscribe button. Can you just click on it? It doesn't hurt too much and it helps me out heaps. Awesome, you've done that? Thanks. The fingerpicking pattern for I Was Only 19 is a repeating pattern or a looping pattern, and it stays consistent throughout the whole song. The only thing that changes is that our tonic or our root note is going to change depending on what chord we're playing. Now just so we're all on the same page and just to make this whole thing as easy to understand as we can, we're going to number our strings 1 through 6, and that's going to be starting with our high E string as number 1 and then our low E string as number 6. Starting with the A chord, our pattern is going to go 5, 2, 3, 1, and then 4, 2, 3, 1. Now what you'll notice if we break that down into 2 little 4-note groupings, the only thing that changes is the first note in the group, and that's going to give us an alternating bass sort of a feel. So all up, if I play through it, it will sound like this. As far as actually playing the pattern, we can execute it in a few different ways. Now, John Schumann, the lead singer, songwriter, he plays this song with his thumb and with his index finger, and he just alternates between those two. So he's going to use his thumb. Let's say if we take our first one, thumb on the 5th string, index finger on the 2nd string, thumb on the 3rd string, index finger on the 1st string, then thumb on the 4th string, index finger on the 2nd string again, and once again thumb on the 3rd string, index finger on the high E string. So but then Hugh McDonald, the other guitarist in the band, uses a thumb pick. I don't know if you can see that, if it focuses, awesome. And the way he plays it is with thumb and 2 fingers. So in this case, the thumb's taking care of the bass notes, and then your index finger is going to take care of the note on the 2nd string, and your middle finger is going to take care of the note on the 1st string or the high E string. So he's going to go thumb on the 5th string, index finger on the B string or the 2nd string, thumb on the 3rd string or G string, and then middle finger on the high E string or the 1st string. And then we jump back, 4th string is going to be played with our thumb, and then index on the 2nd string, thumb on the 3rd string, and then middle finger on the high E string. So it'll sound a little bit like this. We've worked out the fingerpicking part over the A chord. Now we have to look at the other chords. Now, first up we have our C major chord. Good news, it's exactly the same as the A chord, and the reason is because the tonic of our C major chord is on the same string as the tonic for our A major chord. So for our A major chord, that A note's obviously the open A string. For our C major chord, our tonic is our C note, which is the 3rd fret of the A string. So in that case, for our C major chord, the pattern stays the same. Now, when we jump to our G major chord next, everything is the same. It's just that the first note, which is the root note of the chord, that's the one that changes. So in this case, we're going to play the low E string, which is the 6th string first. And the rest of the pattern after that stays the same. So it's only that first note in, or the first string in the pattern, which changes. Now also for our D chord, our tonic is going to be the open D string. So in this case, it's going to be the 4th string. So you won't have an alternating bass note over the D chord, it'll just be that D note ringing out. Now the other 2 chords we have left are our E major chord and our F sharp minor chord, and once again they're the same as our G chord, so that first note in the pattern is going to be our 6th string or our low E string, and that's because obviously for our E major chord The open E string is our root note or our tonic, and for that F sharp minor bar chord, once again the 6th string or that low E string is going to be our tonic. There we go. That's all we need to know to play that fingerstyle pattern over all of those different chord types. Thanks again for watching the video. I really appreciate it. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe. Leave me a comment down below if there's any other songs you want a tutorial on. And until next time, cheers. What are you doing? Go practice.